Discover the incredible moment a billionaire was bitten at a gala. What happened next will touch your heart. Sarah stood on the sidewalk, staring at the glittering lights of the gala hosted by Vance, the billionaire everybody talked about. Just the thought of stepping inside that world made her heart race. She brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, glancing at her reflection in a nearby window. She looked out of place in her simple dress, especially standing next to those stunning gowns and dapper suits. But she had to be there for Mia and her father. As she entered the grand ballroom, her senses exploded with splendor. Crystal chandeliers sparkled like stars above, and the rich aroma of gourmet food wafted through the air. Laughter and chatter blended into a symphony of wealth. Sarah's heart tightened as she moved among the elite, feeling the weight of their gazes. Curiosity mingled with judgment. But when Thomas appeared on stage, his charismatic smile lit up the room. With every word, he painted the success story that everyone admired. Sarah found herself captivated by his passion, almost forgetting her own worries until a sudden commotion broke her reverie. A rare animal meant for entertainment, a vibrant bird took flight, its colorful wings flapping erratically, chaos erupting. In an instant, the creature darted toward Thomas, panic fueling its movements. It landed on his shoulder, jabbing its beak in terror, biting him deep. Gasps filled the room, the laughter evaporating. Sarah's instincts kicked in with surprising clarity. She rushed forward, heart pounding, pushing through the stunned crowd. "Let me help," she shouted, squeezing her way to his side. Thomas winced, blood trickling down his arm. She knelt beside him, tearing a piece of her dress to stem the blood flow. "Stay calm," she urged, her voice steady, soothing. The panic in his eyes began to soften as he noticed her compassion among the chaos. As the night unfolded, photos and clips swarmed social media, and Sarah's bold act became the focal point. Beyond the glamour, she represented a fierce resilience, a reminder of the everyday struggles most people faced. Days later, as Thomas healed, he found himself drawn to her story, each detail a revelation that pulled at his heartstrings. Sarah's sacrifices for Mia and her ailing father resonated with him, sparking a new understanding of life beyond wealth. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As their lives began to intertwine, Thomas faced backlash from his elite circle. Whispers of betrayal and gossip floated through his towering social profile. But each word only made him more determined. Sarah was everything they weren't, and her lessons were invaluable. With renewed purpose, he considered redirects, supporting initiatives that would highlight the hardworking strugglers like Sarah. And though he battled a storm of judgments, there was a longing inside him to bridge their worlds. As their friendship blossomed in the shadow of society's expectations, anticipation crackled in the air. Would Thomas step up for something meaningful? Could Sarah finally claim the respect her life deserved? With eyes wide open, the community watched closely, waiting for a change that felt more imminent than ever. Would the path between their two lives heal or unravel them completely? Sarah's phone buzzed suddenly, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a message from Mia, her small sister, filled with emojis and excitement. "Can we go to the park tomorrow? I miss you." Reading it brought a smile to her face amidst the storm of her swirling emotions. She longed to hold Mia close and forget about the distance that her life often forced between them. She decided to respond after dinner, her mind flickering back to the gala and the way things had started to change. Not only in the perception of her by others, but in how she viewed herself. Was she really the girl who burst into a room full of elites, fearless enough to help a man who had everything? It was the next morning when Sarah received the unexpected call from Thomas. "I know this is kind of last minute," he began, a hint of hesitation in his voice. "Would you like to grab coffee? I want to talk." His tone was no longer just the billionaire's casual charm, but a touch of sincerity, something that made her heart flutter. They met at a cozy cafe, tucked away from prying eyes. The atmosphere was relaxed, with the scent of fresh brew filling the air and soft music playing in the background. Sarah arrived first, her fingers nervously tapping on the table. When he walked in, the tension in her gut loosened. She sank her sore. As Sarah lay in bed that night, sleep refused to come. Her mind was a whirlpool of possibilities. Thomas's words echoed in her thoughts, the chance to do something great doesn't always come around. What would it mean to step into that role he envisioned? A soft ping from her phone broke the stillness. It was a picture from Mia, her younger sister, with a goofy smile, a dog next to her wearing a little bow tie. The warmth of that moment seeped into Sarah, making her heart swell. She quickly replied with heart emojis, but the excitement of the day still buzzed beneath her skin. The next morning came fast. After work, she found herself standing at the edge of the park, her favorite place, the sun filtering through vibrant green leaves, casting playful shadows on the ground. Mia came running over, her little shoes scuffing the dirt. The two embraced tightly, the world around them fading away. The laughter they shared broke the tension building in Sarah's chest. "Do you think we could fly that kite today?" Mia asked with sparkling eyes, pointing to the colorful object peeking out of her backpack. Sarah chuckled. "Of course we can, but let me show you how it really flies." As they ran together, the string tangling in their fingers, Sarah lost herself in the joyful rhythm of the moment. The kite soared high above, fluttering in the wind. It felt liberating, a breath of fresh air lifting her spirits. But suddenly, the laughter was pierced by a sharp pang of doubt. Was this all she was destined for? A moment here, a moment there, with fleeting joy, while the bigger world remained out of reach. Later, Sarah sat on a bench, watching Mia chase butterflies and laughing with other children. The sun dipped lower, casting golden rays that made everything feel like a scene from a fairy tale. "Sarah," Mia's voice rang out, pulling her from her thoughts. "Look, I caught one." Her sister ran over, flapping her arms, an actual butterfly perched gently on her finger, wings fluttering daintily. Sarah felt tears prick at her eyes. A burst of pride and love filled her heart. Moments like this made everything else seem trivial. But then the idea of the future of working with Thomas, of making a real impact, came crashing back. "Are you coming?" Mia called again, now dancing joyfully with her friends. Sarah watched, torn between wanting to grab hold of this simple, beautiful life they shared and the pull of a new adventure ahead. As the sun set, casting shades of pink and orange across the sky, Sarah felt a stirring deep within. She wanted more, not just for herself, but for Mia too. What if the path Thomas proposed wasn't just a responsibility? What if it was the chance to build a life where both of their dreams could thrive? But just as that thought fully formed, doubt slithered back. And what if she failed? What if that leap into a new world only pushed her further away from the love and simplicity she cherished? As they made their way home, hand in hand, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of being at a crossroads. A voice inside her whispered that the decision was coming soon, and it would change everything. With Mia's laughter echoing in her ears, Sarah felt the weight of what was to come, the promise of transformation hanging in the air like the dusk. What would she decide when the moment arrived? Would she take a chance or hold on to the familiar? Tomorrow was another day, and choices lay ahead. Some paths might lead her closer to the dreams she never knew she had. The question loomed, her heart drumming with expectation. How would she choose to write her story next? The following day came too quickly for Sarah. She couldn't shake her restless energy. Work dragged on, each tick of the clock amplifying her anxiety. What if she said yes to Thomas? What if she didn't? As she organized files at her desk, thoughts spiraled around dreams and fears, all blending together. During lunch, she caught a glimpse of her phone. A message from Thomas. It was simple. "Can we meet after work? I want to discuss the project." Her stomach twisted. This was it. Life-changing decisions were just a conversation away. When work finally ended, Sarah's heart raced as she walked to the cafe where they agreed to meet. She pictured Thomas in his crisp suit, that confident smile he wore like a badge of honor. Was she ready for such confidence? The sleek storefront stood in stark contrast to the chaos inside her. As she entered, the scent of freshly brewed coffee enveloped her. She spotted Thomas in a corner booth, looking at his notes. He caught her gaze and smiled, a warm reassurance. It brought a flutter of courage to her chest. "Thank you for coming," he said as she slid into the booth. "Of course, she replied, trying to sound casual. Thomas leaned forward, gray eyes sparkling. I believe you can bring so much to this project. Your ideas are fresh and insightful. We could do something incredible together. She nodded, yet the walls of uncertainty loomed large. But it's a big commitment. What if I mess it all up? That's always a possibility, he admitted, leaning back slightly. But it's also a chance to stretch your wings, to discover what you're capable of. I see that spark in you, Sarah. His words resonated, igniting her imagination. Could she really do this? Could she be more than just a caretaker of her own fears? What if I fail? She whispered, more to herself than to him. Failure is a stepping stone, not a destination, he replied, his gaze steady. Every successful person has faced it. It's how you bounce back that matters. Sarah felt a mix of inspiration and hesitation. The idea thrilled her, a potential for more than the mundane routine she'd grown accustomed to. Yet, the thought of risking everything made her stomach churn. Outside, the wind picked up, ruffling the trees along the street. It felt like a metaphor for the change swirling in her life. She looked out the window and caught sight of a woman spinning joyfully with her child on the sidewalk. The laughter carried through the air, vivid and contagious. She turned back to Thomas, her voice trembling slightly. I want to do this, but I don't want to lose what I have. Thomas's expression softened. You want to lose it, think of it as adding to your life, not taking away from it. You can be a sister, a daughter, and still chase your dreams. The weight of his words settled over her like a comforting blanket. So, maybe it wouldn't mean giving up my life? She asked, her spirit lifting. Exactly, he said firmly. You just have to be brave enough to take the leap. For the first time that day, Sarah felt hope blooming amidst the thorns of doubt. She could explore this new chapter while keeping the ones she cherished close. Could she really find a balance? Just then, Mia's laughter echoed in the back of her mind, a beacon guiding her through the unknown. Would she truly be able to pull it off? Energized by the support in front of her, Sarah took a deep breath. Let us do this, she said, determination lacing her words. That as they discussed plans and brainstormed ideas, Sarah realized that this opportunity held promise. It was a chance to chase her dreams, with Mia right behind her in spirit. But just as excitement bubbled within her, a text dinged on Thomas's phone. He glanced at it, his expression shifting. A serious tone crept into his voice. I need to handle this. It might affect the project. Words spilled from his lips, details lost in her thoughts. Just when Sarah felt like she was about to embrace this new life, uncertainty slithered back in what would happen next. Could the project really take off, or would it falter just as she began to believe? As they parted ways, Sarah felt that familiar tremor of doubt in her stomach. A mixture of anticipation and fear loaded her heart. One unexpected moment could change everything, and she was left wondering, was she ready for it? What if the leap of faith held unexpected consequences? The evening sky held endless possibilities, and the question screamed in her mind. When would she finally discover her true passion? Sarah spent the following days in a haze, caught between excitement and unease. The project hung over her like a looming storm cloud, promising both rain and sunshine. She couldn't shake the feeling that her life was standing on the edge of a precipice, and every choice she made could lead her either to flight or to fall. Her conversations with Thomas became the highlight of her days. Each meeting was charged with energy, a mix of brainstorming, laughter, and shared dreams. He pushed her to envision possibilities she had never dared to consider. But even as she tossed around ideas, a quiet voice in the back of her mind questioned whether she could truly rise to the occasion. And on what felt like the 10th visit to their favorite cafe, Sarah found herself staring blankly at her coffee cup. She should have been focused on their conversation. Instead, her mind wandered to the safety of routine, the comfort of predictable days spent with Mia and family. Could she really give that up for this elusive dream? Sarah? Thomas's voice cut through her thoughts. You seem lost. His concern brushed against her heart like warmth, stirring something inside. I'm just thinking about everything. What is holding you back? He asked, leaning closer, his expression earnest. She hesitated, staring at the patterns in the coffee foam. I guess I worry I'm not ready to step up. What if I can't handle it? What if I lose everything I care about? What if you find something incredible instead? He countered gently. There's a big world out there. Sometimes, You have to take risks to find truly rewarding paths. The words hung in the air, and for a moment, Sarah felt suspended in time. Could it be that simple? As if to answer her unasked questions, a thought flashed in her mind. Her mother's words echoed back to her from years ago. You won't know until you try. Taking a breath, she dared to voice her worry. But what if that world doesn't want me? What if I fail, and when I look back, I regret stepping away from what I had? His gaze softened, his gray eyes piercing through her doubts. Regret is a terrible thing to carry. You have to do what feels right inside your heart. It'll never be perfect, but taking the leap can lead to wonders. A wave of determination swelled within her. He was right. Wouldn't she rather face potential disappointment than always wonder, what if? Just as her resolve solidified, the door swung open, and a cold gust swept through the cafe, sending a chill up her spine. Are you two ready for this? The words broke through, and Sarah's heart sank as she recognized the voice. It was Deborah, the head of the firm, and she looked anything but cheerful. She stepped toward their table, her presence sucking the warmth from the room. We need to talk. There have been some changes regarding the project. The seriousness in her tone sent a wave of trepidation coursing through Sarah. Anxiety bubbled to the surface as Deborah's expression shifted into one of impatience. Now, more than ever, I need everyone on board. This could make or break careers. Thomas glanced at Sarah, his brow furrowing slightly. What do you mean? Deborah crossed her arms. We've got a new investor on board, and he's not exactly patient. We might have to modify our direction, and I need input from both of you. I expect everyone to be ready for a full meeting tomorrow. With that, Deborah turned and left, the door slamming shut behind her. Silence settled heavily between Sarah and Thomas, tension crackling in the aftermath. Now what? Sarah whispered, her heart racing. What does this mean for us? She didn't want to let fear cloud her determination, but uncertainty loomed like a shadow over her expectations. Thomas leaned back, his voice steady. We adapt and push forward. If this changes the game, we strategize. Together. Sarah's pulse quickened, caught between dread and determination. Everything was shifting around her, and she was standing on the brink of something monumental. Was she truly ready for this? What if tomorrow brought the kind of chaos that tested her resolve beyond what she had prepared for? The evening sky hung bright with swirling colors, each shade whispering promises of change. What lay ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear: tomorrow would change everything, and she would have to be ready to face it. Would she rise to the occasion or watch the opportunity slip through her fingers? The next morning came too fast for Sarah's comfort. The sun seeped through her curtains, illuminating the room where she had tossed and turned throughout the night, her dreams swirling with anxiety. Her phone buzzed incessantly, pulling her from the remnants of sleep. It was a message from Thomas. Are you ready for this? Meeting at 10 sharp. She stared at the screen, her heart racing. How could she feel ready for something that seemed so big it could swallow her whole? She threw back the covers and swung her legs over the side of the bed. Today was the day. She needed to focus. A quick shower helped clear her mind. As she dressed, she caught her reflection in the mirror. There was a fire igniting in her chest, a mixture of fear and excitement that she wasn't ready to extinguish just yet. She chose a blue dress that mirrored the sky, bold, vibrant, and full of promise. Arriving at the office felt almost surreal. The hallways buzzed with voices, and people were hastily typing on their laptops, busy with their own projects. Yet an unspoken tension filled the air. She made her way to the conference room, her stomach in knots. Thomas was already there, his presence grounding her. He looked up with a reassuring smile. You okay? Not really, she admitted, lowering her voice. What if the stakes are too high? What if they don't accept us? They will, he replied confidently. If anyone can win them over, it's us. We have something special to offer. The moment Deborah entered the room, all chatter fell silent. She strode to the front, her heels echoing with authority. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you all being here on short notice. Her eyes locked onto Sarah and Thomas. We have a major opportunity, but it's going to require every ounce of your creativity and grit. Sarah felt herself shrinking back, the impossibility of the task ahead settling like a weight in her chest. But as Deborah continued to set the stage, detailing the new investor's expectations, something shifted inside Sarah. The realization struck her. This was not just a challenge. It was her chance to make her mark. That as Deborah spoke about the investor's vision, Sarah listened intently. Suddenly, she caught a flicker of inspiration. Visuals began to form in her mind, a vivid picture of what their product could become under this new direction. What if we take a bold approach? She found herself speaking up, the words tumbling out before she could second-guess herself. We could incorporate elements that appealed directly to the audience's emotional connection with our brand. The room went quiet for a beat, then Deborah's brow raised in interest. Go on. Sarah could feel Thomas's encouraging presence by her side, nudging her to continue. The nervous energy transformed into excitement. Ideas flowed as she spoke, liberating her thoughts and silencing her earlier fears. They spent the next hour bouncing ideas off one another, with Sarah at the heart of the discussion. With each suggestion, she could feel the eyes of her colleagues shift. They were starting to see her, but just when she thought she was gaining momentum, Deborah interrupted, the tension crackling in the air again. We need to impress our investor immediately. He is a tough cookie. We could win him over at tonight's gala. A gala. Panic clawed at her stomach. Tonight? The prospect felt like it was edging her toward a cliff again. She almost missed the quick exchange of looks between Thomas and Deborah, the urgency intensifying around the table. Absolutely. You and Thomas will lead the presentation, Deborah commanded. This is your chance to shine. Make it count. As Sarah processed the enormity of the task laid before her, she glanced over at Thomas, who had a hint of mischief in his eyes. Are you ready for the gala? He teased lightly, but she could see he was serious too. Doubt flared once more, but deep down, a flicker of determination sparked to life. What was it that Thomas had said? Complacency wasn't going to get her anywhere. This could be more than just a presentation. It could be the start of something truly amazing. Still, as they gathered their things, Sarah couldn't ignore the turbulent storm inside her. What if tonight revealed just how outmatched she really was? Just as they were about to leave, Thomas leaned in closer. Remember, it's not just about impressing them. It's about being authentic. Could she truly be herself in a room filled with high-stakes expectations? This was at the moment when her courage would be tested. The night was still ahead, and she had to ask herself, could she grasp this opportunity to redefine her future, or let her fear drown out her voice? As they stepped into the bright hallway, adrenaline coursed through her veins, heightening every sense. The gala loomed ahead like a beacon in the dark. Would this evening become the turning point she desperately hoped for, or turn into a descending spiral of doubts, dragging her down? Sarah took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation. They were in the car now, the city lights flickering like stars beneath them. Thomas glanced over, and she could see a warmth in his eyes that held a promise, a reassurance that she'd be okay. Just think of it as a chance to share our vision, he said, trying to ease the tension coiling in her stomach. You've got this, right? She replied, forcing a smile. Each passing streetlight cast shadows on her thoughts. What if her vision wasn't clear enough? What if she stumbled over her words? The insecurities flooded back in waves, threatening to drown out the spark of confidence she felt in the meeting. The gala venue came into view, a sprawling building shining with grandeur. As they parked, she could feel the pulse of music vibrate through the air. People in elegant attire surrounded the entrance, laughter and chatter mingling like a sweet mix of adrenaline and fear. Are you ready to spark some inspiration? Thomas asked, his voice lighter, as he stepped out of the car. With a quick glance in the side mirror, she smoothed her hair and adjusted her dress. The blue fabric felt empowering, yet so fragile in the sea of sophisticated attire. I guess I'll have to be. As they walked through the entrance, a blast of cool air greeted them, mingling with the warmth of excitement. She swallowed hard, focusing on the goals ahead. Glittering chandeliers hung overhead, illuminating elegantly dressed attendees. Sarah's heart raced alongside the tempo of the music. They found a quiet corner to gather their thoughts. Thomas looked at her with an intensity that held a steadying force. Remember, just be yourself. You're the heart of this project. Sarah closed her eyes briefly, letting his words sink in. The path ahead was uncertain, but the idea of authenticity resonated deeply. She visualized the investor, his steely demeanor softening as he engaged with them, perhaps even captivated by their passion. Let us do this, she declared, nodding with renewed determination that as they approached the main gathering. She could see their target, a tall man with an impressive presence, elegantly engaged with a group of people. She felt a jolt of panic shoot through her. What if he was unapproachable? Just breathe, Thomas whispered, his confidence wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. They reached the group, introducing themselves. The conversations flowed, and gradually, she found herself sharing snippets of their vision. Their scheme for an innovative product that would genuinely connect with users was spilling into the air like magic. For a moment, she felt invincible. But then the investor's piercing gaze turned critical. What makes you different from the others? Why should I trust you? Her heart pounded. A brave voice inside her cried out, because we believe in what we're doing. This isn't just business, it's personal. It's about creating something that matters. Silence clung to the space. The investor's eyes softened just slightly. Was it enough? Before she could sink into self-doubt, a commotion erupted across the room. People gasped, pointing toward a couple stumbling dramatically. A man lost his footing, nearly toppling into a lavish display of hors d'oeuvres. Her attention wavered, momentarily distracted from the investor's gaze. Did you see that? A woman behind them exclaimed. What a disaster. Sarah couldn't help but chuckle, the moment easing her tension. But as she turned back to the investor, she noticed his critical expression had softened in amusement too. See, she said boldly. That's exactly it. Life is unpredictable. Our product embraces that our users can find comfort in their chaos. He tilted his head, intrigued. I see. You've got spirit. Just spirit? She pressed, her pulse quickening again. I'd like to see more, he replied, a hint of challenge in his tone. The pressure intensified as the evening continued, leading to scheduled presentations. Sarah could feel the undercurrents of competition in the air. Her initial burst of confidence began to wane as she caught sight of others, showcasing flawlessly polished prototypes and grand ideas. How could they stand out among those titans? Standing backstage, Thomas squeezed her shoulder. They haven't seen the passion in your eyes yet. Remember what you said earlier, this is not just another show. It's your authentic story. Tell it. With butterflies racing in her stomach, Sarah picked up her notes, glancing at her reflection in the glass. Could she convey the deep emotional side of their vision? Could she rise above the noise and truly connect? Taking a steadying breath, she stepped onto the stage, the spotlight blazing down. Suddenly, the eyes of the audience seemed to fit her like a second skin. Would tonight propel her into a new reality, or would she fade like so many others before her? As she opened her mouth to speak, the music dimmed, and all that remained was the swift beating of her heart. What if this was the moment she had been preparing for her entire life? Would she find the courage to claim her place? With anticipation crackling in the air, she took a bold step forward. Sarah's voice trembled at first, barely escaping her lips. Good evening. My name is Sarah, and I'm here to share our story. She glanced down at her notes, her heart racing, but felt the energy of the room shift slightly as the audience leaned in. She took a deep breath, letting the words flow through her, fueled by passion. We're not just creating a product. We're building connections in an unpredictable world. As she spoke, she recalled the laughter in the room moments ago. The couple's mishap had reminded her that the unexpected could lead to genuine moments. She grounded herself in that thought, feeling the warmth of her message knitting a thread between her and the audience. Life is chaotic, she continued, voice gaining strength. But what if we could harness that chaos? What if our product could bring joy to the messy parts of life? She could see faces lighting up as she talked, eyes sparkling with curiosity. But then, from the corner of her eye, she spotted the investor again. His brow furrowed slightly, and she felt a pulse of fear creep back in. Did he believe her? Could he see the fire she felt inside? Think of it this way, she said, taking another step forward. When life throws us a curveball, we don't just survive, we thrive. Our product is designed to help users embrace and navigate their personal storms, turning chaos into creativity. Such simple wording seemed to dissolve barriers. Her words wrapped around the crowd, inviting engagement. Thomas watched from the sidelines, eyes encouraging. That reassurance spurred her on. Imagine a platform where people can come together, she urged, where they can share their stories, their struggles, and find support. That's what we're building, a community that reflects our humanity. A murmur rippled across the audience. It felt like a crack in the surface of doubt, creating openings for connection. But then she noticed something, a flicker of mischief on the investor's face, a challenge dancing in his eyes. The room was alive with emotion, and she could feel the weight of expectation upon her. If you want this to truly resonate, you have to dig deeper, his expression seemed to say. Feeling charged, she lifted her chin. She shared a personal anecdote, how her own life had spun out of control during a loved one's illness. How, in those moments, she had discovered the beauty in vulnerability and strength in community. The room held its breath as she painted that picture. Tears threatened to spill as she spoke. We are all connected, tied together by our stories. This isn't just a business, it's a lifeline. Our product will make sure no one feels alone in their struggles. The silence that followed was almost tangible. She scanned the faces in the crowd. Some were nodding, others wiping eyes. Hope surged within her as she realized she was touching hearts, bridging their stories with her own. And then it happened. A soft clap grew into a thunderous applause. It echoed against the walls, reverberating within her. She felt acknowledgement, validation. The weight began to lift, replaced by electrifying energy. Thomas's eyes sparkled with pride as he stepped forward, standing tall beside her. What Sarah has shared with you tonight is just the beginning, he added, rallying the crowd. We can innovate, inspire, and change lives together. The investor looked on, his skepticism melting away. Now that I can get on board with, he finally said, a hint of a smile making its way to his lips. Show me what you've got. A rush of exhilaration pulsed through her veins. This was the moment. This was the chance they had fought for. But there was still a long way to go. As applause flowed, Sarah felt the deep call of possibility surge within her heart. Let us take this journey together, she said, beaming at the gathering, feeling the warmth in their reception. But in the depths of her mind, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the prologue to something even larger. The night was not yet over. Behind the reassuring smiles and clapping hands, there were still doubts waiting to be unraveled and barriers to be crossed. Could they truly transform their vision into reality, or was this just a fleeting moment of triumph? As Sarah took a bow, she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, ready to face whatever came next. But little did she know, a twist was around the corner. Would the challenges ahead test their resolve in ways they never anticipated? The applause faded, but the energy in the room lingered like a spark caught in air. Sarah could feel her heart still racing from the adrenaline. The thrill of bearing her soul had ignited something deeper within her. She shared glances with Thomas, and his warmth anchored her as she turned back to the now quieter audience. Thank you all for your kind words, she said softly, but her voice echoed with the strength she had summoned. This journey has only just begun. As she stepped away from the podium, she noticed the investor deep in conversation with his associate, gestures animated yet serious. Anxiety fluttered in Sarah's stomach. She thought about their pitch, the heart they poured into it, and the potential they envisioned. Yet, doubt shadowed her excitement. Would it be enough? Thomas, reading her tension, placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. You did amazing, he reassured her with a smile. Just remember, this excitement isn't just for today. It's a long game. She nodded, trying to shake off her worries. But as she glanced around the room, the reality hit her like a cold gust of wind. People were regrouping, mingling, and a sense of urgency began pulsing through her veins. She had just shared her deepest thoughts and fears with strangers, and now she wanted to know if they understood. Hey, Thomas broke into her spiraling thoughts. Want to mingle? We can talk to the audience, gather some feedback? He had a point. Reaching out could solidify the connections they were hoping to create. Yeah, let us do it, she replied, a spark of determination igniting in her chest. Together, they moved into the crowd, stopping at various small groups that formed throughout the spacious hall. Conversations buzzed around them, a mixture of excitement about their pitch and general chatter about the gala. They caught snippets of praise and ideas, the passion echoing back to them, filling Sarah's heart with hope. Your story was powerful, one woman said, her eyes glistening with emotion. I felt that. As Sarah smiled and returned her greeting, she suddenly scanned the room for the investor. He had receded into a corner, now engaged in a discussion with two other attendees, his demeanor serious. A knot tightened in her stomach. What were they talking about? Was he losing interest? Sarah. Thomas's voice broke through. He was flagging her over. Check this out. He had approached a group discussing mental health and community-driven initiatives. They were captivated by her story and began sharing their own experiences, laughter intertwining with moments of vulnerability. As they exchanged thoughts, Sarah felt the weight of her earlier worries lift off her shoulders, replaced by an electricity that framed their mission as something greater than business. It was connection, it was hope. But then her eyes caught the investor again, standing just a bit apart, arms crossed and brow furrowed, deep in contemplation. The laughter and heartbeat of conversation spun around her, but her focus snapped back to him. A chilling realization gripped her. Would he see the potential in what they were building? Sarah, everything all right? Thomas asked, sensing her distraction. Yeah, she paused, thoughts racing. The moment hung heavy. What if he doesn't see it the way we do? You nailed it out there. Let him stew for a bit. If he's intrigued like everyone else, he'll come to us. But there was something intrinsic, a lurking uncertainty in her gut. They had poured their souls into this. Failure simply wasn't an option. Thomas, what if he doesn't see the real value, the heart? His gaze softened with understanding. Then we'll show him. Together. Feeling her resolve wane for a moment, Sarah took a deep breath, but instead of defeat, she sensed an invitation. An invitation to rise above doubt, to reclaim her narrative. As the evening grew deeper, laughter erupted yet again, slicing through the tension. But Sarah's mind was elsewhere now. The air thrummed, and a curious weight settled in the pit of her stomach as the gala began to change. In this world of bright lights and busy conversations, would they find the clarity they desperately needed? Just then, a shiver of surprise danced through the crowd as a commotion erupted by the entrance. Sarah turned, pulse quickening. What was happening now? Their chance for clarity might just be knocking at the door, but at what cost? From across the room, Sarah could see the entrance swarming with excitement. A familiar face stepped forward, and gasps echoed around her. It was Mia, her sister, small but mighty, clutching a bouquet of wildflowers she had picked up from a nearby park. The soft petals were brightly colored and looked adorably mismatched against the elegant backdrop of the gala. Sarah! Mia shouted, her face radiating joy. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. The pour of her heart was mirroring her sister's free spirit. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice thick with emotion as she rushed toward her little sister. I wanted to surprise you, Mia exclaimed, her eyes wide with awe as they danced around the glamorous room. I always knew you could do it. You looked so brave up there. At that moment, the chatter around Sarah faded into the background. The only sounds were Mia's laughter and the flutter of her heart. Each hug they exchanged felt like a tight affirmation of Sarah's journey. The sacrifices she made were for moments like this. It was not just about the high stakes of the gala. It was about connection, love, and the power of family. Sarah struggled for words, overwhelmed with gratitude. She knelt down to meet her sister at eye level. You make everything worth it. I'm doing this for you. Mia shook her head, eyes sparkling. You're amazing. You showed everyone how powerful stories are. I want to help too. Thomas appeared behind them, catching the spark of the moment. He smiled warmly as he took in the scene. The contrast of Sarah's fierce ambition and Mia's innocent joy was palpable. You two really are a dynamic duo, he remarked, the pride evident in his voice. But then Sarah's gaze flickered back to the investor, who now approached with a thoughtful expression. The tension swelled again, and Sarah instinctively straightened. Her sister's presence had reignited the flame of confidence deep within her. This moment transcended her fears, her doubts. She stood tall, ready to face whatever adversity would come her way. Mia, can you stay close to me? I might need a little help. Always, Mia replied, reaching up to clasp her sister's hand. As the investor approached, the air felt electric. Sarah, he started, looking straight into her eyes. I'm impressed by your presentation tonight. It's clear you're passionate about this project, but we need to see tangible results and soon. I completely understand, Sarah replied, her voice steadier than she felt. This is more than just numbers, it's about making a difference. We want to create something that ultimately brings people together, just like tonight. He nodded slowly, considering her words. Then, he turned his focus towards Mia, who stood confidently beside her, holding the bouquet tightly. "And what do you think of your sister's project?" he asked, genuinely engaging. Mia shrugged off her shyness, the whole room watching her intently. "It's really cool, and it can help a lot of people. Like a giant family. Everyone needs a family, right?" Sarah felt a waterfall of pride as her sister spoke so eloquently from the heart. The investor's demeanor shifted, a crack appearing in his professional facade. "Sometimes, the best ideas stem from those pure moments of connection," he said, his tone softening. What started as uncertainty transformed into a new foundation for understanding. Maybe this investor wasn't just looking for profit, perhaps he wanted meaning, too. It was as if the very essence of their project had sparked an awakening not just in Sarah, but in everyone present. Connections formed through vulnerability, hope welcomed through open hearts. "Let us brainstorm some ideas that could showcase community involvement," the investor proposed, a twinkle of enthusiasm igniting in his expression. "I want to collaborate directly with you, Sarah. You and Mia, let us create something impactful." Overwhelmed by this unexpected turn of events, Sarah exchanged a wide-eyed look with Thomas, the two recognizing the weight of the moment. "We can do that," Sarah blurted out, a smile breaking across her face. "We have so many ideas. Let us meet again and dive deeper." With Maya's hand squeezing hers, Sarah felt an impulsive surge of gratitude and resolve wash over her. The stakes had shifted from fear to hope, from loneliness to connection. This was what they had long sought, a chance to weave their stories into something bigger. As the night drew on, laughter and chatter filled the air, painting smiles on every face. The unexpected had shifted into a bright opportunity. Tomorrow would come with its own challenges, but they weren't just individuals treading water anymore. Together, with the power of their shared dreams and the courage to embrace the chaos of life, they could soar. As excitement bubbled around them. One thing was clear. This was only the beginning of something extraordinary. If you were moved by Sarah and Mia's journey, you need to subscribe now. Don't let the next exclusive story slip away. Be part of this transforming journey that touches hearts. Leave a like now to help us reach even more folks who crave inspiration. I want to hear from you too, so comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending. And I challenge you to share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need a spark of inspiration in their lives. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second.